Well, the poop scene was the talk of episode 1, and I already know, thanks to my live chat after the show, exactly what the talk of episode 2 is going to be. I am so thankful we got more Sir Arlan actually being a mentor to Dunk and not just kind of a grumpy old jerk like episode 1 made him feel, because in the novella, Dunk is deeply fond of Arlan. He reveres him, he misses him, he models himself after him, and if you only watched episode 1, you wouldn't quite understand why. But this episode, this is Arlan from the books. This is the man who sang on the road as they traveled, the man who carried himself with quiet honor, the man who shaped Dunk into the knight he desperately wants to be. You finally see the warmth, the humanity, the reason Dunk feels such a loss. And yet, despite all that emotional depth, they still managed to center the episode around the most aggressive dong HBO could possibly find. I mean, they really committed. They opened with hard salt beef and somehow managed to close the loop back around to hard salt beef. Full circle, title drop, symbolism, art. This show is ridiculous and brilliant at the same time. I love that we got more Lionel this episode, Mr. I'm Thirsty. He's already becoming such a presence even without doing much. You just feel him there. I honestly thought Dunk might start bonding with some other lords during the tug-of-war scene. It felt like that classic Dunk accidentally charms important people moment from the book, but instead they kept the focus tighter on the Targaryens, and honestly, that works. Because this episode is quietly doing something important. It's showing us how small Dunk is in this world, and how close he is to standing to very big people without realizing it. Egg continues to be an absolute ultimate wingman, helping Dunk flirt, nudging him along, reading the room better than Dunk ever could. But what I love most is that we're also seeing Egg's insecurity start to peek through. His size, his age, the fact no one takes him seriously. It's subtle, but it's there. He's just not comic relief. He's a kid who feels inadequate in a family full of warriors and princes. And then we get Maekar. Oh my god, Maekar. They nailed him. He has the most perfect younger brother energy I have ever seen put to screen. The way they announce Baelor with all the pomp and reverence and then just, and Maekar. The look on his face, I'd be mad too. That is exactly how a second son, or fourth son, lives his life in a royal family. Forever the afterthought. And his reactions to Dunk are priceless, especially when Dunk talks about hoping Maekar's sons aren't dead. The mix of offense, confusion, and irritation on his face is so good. And when Dunk calls his brother the soul of chivalry, and Maekar just responds with that exhausted, annoyed, ugh. That is such a little brother response. That is a man who has heard that his whole life and does not want to hear it one more time. You can tell Maekar is going to be one of the standouts of this series. I also love that they made a point to mention that Daeron basically forced them to attend this tourney, King Daeron, because this is something that could feel random if you don't know the history. Why are all these Targaryen princes showing up to a small backwater tourney? Because the Targaryens are not in a great place right now. The realm is shaky, the legitimacy of the crown is shaky, there are legitimized bastards running around, loyalties are divided, and what better way to remind the realm who is in charge than to show up in shining armor with dragons on your chest and to put on a spectacle of royal presence. It's political theater, and this show is quietly letting you know that without hitting you over the head with it. Speaking of shiny armor, the Kingsguard armor, absolutely stunning. The bright reflective white, it doesn't even look real, it looks holy, untouchable. It immediately sets them apart from every other knight on the field. My heart actually stopped for a second when they walked into frame. And can we talk about the comedy for a second? This show has the perfect balance. It's not Marvel quippy humor where every serious moment gets undercut by a joke, but it's also not grim dark misery. It feels human. The jokes come from character, from awkwardness, from Dunk being Dunk, from Egg being Egg. You laugh, but you never feel pulled out of the world. You feel more immersed in it because of it, which is honestly very Dunk and Egg. This episode feels like the show finally setting into its tone. Less shock value, more character. Less gross out spectacle, more emotional grounding. While still somehow circling back to hard salt beef and aggressive nudity because HBO will always be HBO. But underneath all of that silliness is something really, really important happening. You're starting to understand who Dunk Dunk is becoming. You're starting to understand why he worships Sir Arlan. You're starting to understand the Targaryen family dynamics that are going to matter a lot very soon. And you're starting to see this little tourney in the middle of nowhere is actually a powder keg of politics, pride, ego, and reputation. Which means episode 3, yeah, I already know what the live chat's going to be about. So I love this episode, but let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, and come back for more World of Ice and Fire.